will be presented about estate planning, which is asset redistribution. Asset redistribution, often known as estate planning, is concerned with how one fortune should be distributed after death. For Muslim, everything we do is not only for our profit in this life, but also for our benefit in the hereafter. We will be questioned on how we obtain our riches, how and to whom we spend our wealth, and how responsible we are in preparing to share our fortune for the benefit of surviving family members and society. There were several concerns with asset redistribution in Malaysia, and the quantity of unclaimed cash and valuable left by the deceased reached billions of ringgit. Asset redistribution must be done properly to maintain family unity and guarantee that all family members benefit from it. As estate is the sum of all assets that a person owns and is legally entitled to, it can also be described as all property that legally belongs to the deceased person and has monetary worth, such as tangible assets, rights, and interest in both fixed and current assets. For example, saving, tabung haji account, takaful, shares, and other valuable assets in the deceased name, such as jewelry. There are three methods for distributing one fortune after she or he has died. It is faraid, wasiyah, which is will, and hibah, which is a gift, all of which will contribute to an increase in the entire distribution of wealth among Muslims.
Wealth distribution is a fundamental aspect of the Islamic economic system, guided by the principle of justice, equality, and compassion. Therefore, Islam proposes to distribute wealth in such a way that everyone receives their share that Allah has given them the right to wealth. So, our objective regarding to this study is to explain the importance of, firstly, the importance of protecting assets. Estate planning is the safest and the most risk-minimizing method to protect the intrinsic value of assets. He or she should allow the continued growth and increase in profitability and liquidity. In doing so, it will avoid the problem of insufficient income provision for her. Secondly, the importance of leaving the maximum amount to her. It is important to preserve the maximum amount of wealth for distribution to joint beneficiaries by minimizing the estate settlement costs and any other tax associated with his or her estate. For example, the donor or giver may give gift or hibah while he or she is still alive. And thirdly, the importance of minimizing administrative costs and inconvenience. By well-planned asset distribution, it will help in shortening lengthy court procedure. It will also minimize the administrative and legal costs. Hence, it is an economical and faster method as it enables for grant of probate rather than the method of administration. The best example is by writing a will, wasiyah, which is a critical component of the estate plan. Evidence of asset distribution. When it comes to abiding by Islamic law for property distribution, it is important to understand how the Quran divides wealth. The Quran states that the wealth does not belong to anyone. Instead, it belongs to Allah as He has dominion over everything on earth. This statement is emphasized in various parts of the Quran. For any Muslim, they have an obligation to ensure the proper distribution of wealth after they have died. Doing so constitutes an act of worship to Allah. As minister state of wealth, it ensures that we follow Allah's commandment about how He wants this wealth to be passed to those remaining in this world. Al-Quran said, it is prescribed when death approach any of you, if he leave any good that he makes a bequest to parent and next of kin, according to reasonable uses, this is due from God-fearing. Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 180. In a hadith narrated by Ibn Umar, the Prophet Muhammad SAW said, it is the duty of a Muslim who has anything to bequeath not to let 2 nights pass without writing a will about it. And in another hadith, Prophet Muhammad SAW was reported to have said, "It is better for you to make your dependent rich than giving them asking for people for sustenance." Both verses from Al-Quran and the hadith mention the importance of managing the property or wealth after death. Islam not only encourages its followers to seek wealth, but also focus on how wealth should be spent and distributed to those entitled, whether the donor is alive or after he has died.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Anis Izzuddin, and today I will explain to you about the comparison between Islamic estate planning and conventional estate planning. For the Islamic estate planning, there are 3 points that we will discuss about. For the first point is Sharia compliance. Islamic estate planning relates to Sharia law, which specifies certain rules for inheritance, or also known as Faraid. Under Faraid, a set part of the descendant inheritance is allocated to designated heirs, including parents, siblings, spouses, and other family members. The second point is charitable bequest, also known as sadaqah. Islamic estate planning frequently includes elements that allow for donation, we call it wakaf, or charitable contribution, also known as a sadaqah, as a way of improving society and obtaining religious benefit. And the third one is fixed shares. In Islamic inheritance, different heirs receive different shares that are fixed. Sons may inherit more than the daughter, for example, and the spouse are entitled to a certain amount, while others relative get fixed share. For conventional estate planning, there are 3 points as well. And the first one is testamentary freedom. The conventional estate planning gives people greater flexibility to these wills, trust, and other legal documents to allocate their wealth as they see fit. In general, the limit are less than those of Islamic inheritance law. And the second point is no fixed shares. Conventional estates planning doesn't need to set portion for particular heirs as contrast to Islamic inheritance. It is up to the individual to choose beneficiaries and how much of their estate they want to give to each. And the last point is charitable giving. Both Islamic and conventional estate planning involve in charity giving, although the method and the reasons for doing so may be different. Giving to charity can be managed through wills, trust, or other charitable instrument in conventional planning, depending more on individual preferences than religious obligation.
So, implementation. There is a few parts in implementation, which is the first one is zakat. What does zakat stand for? Zakat is basically an obligatory giving of a portion of wealth to those in need. For example, as a Muslim, it's stated to the pillars of Islam that all the Muslim members need to pay for their zakat. And the next one we got sadaqah, which is the first thing in Islam, or a voluntary charity given to the support various causes and help the less fortunate. For example, sadaqah is something a part of or a portion of our wealth that give to the person that we want to give that particular things in charities or in sincerely. Alright, the next is implementation, which is fair trade. Fair trade is basically meaning that emphasizing ethical business practices and avoiding exploitation of others. Alright, in easy ways to understand, we give a portion of our wealth or asset and we waiting for the return. That is how fair trade is concept, as long as it doesn't included with any activities that are prohibited in Islam. So last but not least, we got promoting social justice, which in promoting social justice, we got ensuring a more equitable distribution of wealth in society, and we give a part of our wealth and asset to others people to help them to help less fortunate. Alright. So before this, I have been talking about sedekah and charity. It's all in our lifetime. So there is a part which is after the death of that particular person. So the first one, how that we want to distribute our asset and wealth is via faraid. What does faraid stand for? Faraid is referred to the rightful of hers or beneficial of deceased person estate. It's outline the specific individuals who are entitled to the inherit from the deceased based on their relationship and the rules of inheritance. Faraid basically is binded with the law in Islam, and the portion of faraid is basically stated in Islam. Alright, the next one we call hadiah. What does hadiah stand for? Basically, hadiah, this is simply meaning a gift or present from particular person to particular person. It can be given on various occasions or as an expression of gratitude, love, or appreciation in Islam teachings. So, strengthen relationship and spread happiness to both parties, which is to the person that want to give the hadiah and to the receiver of that hadiah. The second last but not least is hibah, which is hibah is an act of giving a gift or transferring ownership of property or wealth voluntarily. It's a way to share one's wealth during one's lifetime, and it seems an of generosity and kindness to other person. I think must be you guys wondering what does the differences between hibah and hadiah. So hibah is a gift, an amount of wealth, where hadiah is also a gift, a present, but one that associated with cordial affection. When hibah given consideration without for the sake of the recipient. In the case of hibah, the giver, or we call it as wahid, usually knows that the identity of the recipient, mawkhud lahu, and there is a direct interaction and maybe previous acquaintance between them, where the hadiah is maybe extended in return for a favor or in a goodwill. In the sentence, hadiah is specific form of hibah. Alright, so last but not least is wasiyah. Wasiyah is basically refer to writing, will or statement binded with legals or Islamic rules. So it is a legal document that allows a person to specify how their wealth and assets should be distributed after their demise. It ensures that individual wishes regarding wealth distribution are honored, followed, or well managed after the death of that particular person. So that's what wasiyah means.
So basically, to summarize, why we need to distribute our wealth or a part of our asset is because we want to our asset or our wealth is well managed by a person, or we doesn't want that our wealth and asset also wasted after the death of us, after the death of every one of us. So that's the reasons, the biggest reasons why we're doing the paying or the asset distribution as a wasiyah, hibah or something. So apart from that, we do doing the asset distribution because we want to take good care of the relationship between one person's in family, so that they doesn't argue each other because of the wealth or because of the assets. So that's all for me. Thank you.
Next, I will explain about the recommendation. The first one is utilize Sharia compliant instrument. People should be informed on how to divide their money, and by adopting Sharia compliant tools, fairness, reconciliation, and devotion to Islamic values are emphasized. Not only does Islam encourage its adherents to pursue riches, but it also emphasizes how income should be spent and handed to those who are entitled, whether the giver is living or has died. If mediation fails, Sharia-compliant arbitration can deliver a binding resolution based on Islamic law principles. This can be useful in resolving a difficulty that may arise during asset distribution. For example, if a person uses Sharia-compliant instrument, there will be no injustice in the choice because it follows the rule that have been presented. The second one is prioritize faraid inheritance. In Islam, it is significant to distribute the asset in a fair and equitable method. Distribution method will take into account the right and interest of the deceased heirs. From that, faraid should be prioritized as this method deals with the distribution of the estate of a deceased person among his heirs in accordance with Allah's decree in the Holy Quran and according to the hadith or tradition of the Messenger of Allah. In reality, faraid is a part of the distribution management of a deceased property, which is implemented after factoring in the deceased funeral expenses, debts, and so on. In a conclusion, asset redistribution in Islamic financial planning is about more than just managing money, but it is also about fulfilling an Islamic duty. It is a pathway of financial restraints, religious commitments, and ethical issues. We travel the equitable and responsible distribution route by using Sharia-compliant vehicles such as wills, faraid, and hibah. Furthermore, wealth distribution in Islamic finance is a method of bringing the gap between this world and the next, leaving a legacy that resonates with Islamic ideals, connect with our ethics, and act as a light of hope for our future generation. May our decision match the Prophet Muhammad words, which is the best charity is that given by a wealthy person who does not neglect his family.